Hey y'all, Tom here. This here is the PlayStation 5 Slim, and I think it's the best PS5 for your money, or is it? Let's go over what the PS5 Slim has to offer. Now, the PS5 Slim is, in practicality, just a regular PS5, but if you know what a PS5 looks like, you know that it looks and feels rather large. The PS5 Slim aims to address that by, well, take a guess, by shrinking it a little. Well, it definitely does look much smaller, and it is actually a little smaller, and it's much lighter by more than a kilogram, but they perform just about the same. However, there are a couple of things which make the PS5 Slim a much better choice compared to a PS5, and that would be mainly the storage and availability. So, first off, what do I mean by availability? Right now, you can't really find a PS5 easily, and the PS5 Slim is much more easily found and readily available since Sony actually phased out the regular PS5. So now the PS5 Slim is technically the regular PS5, now that's in quotes. The PS5 Slim is basically the replacement of the PS5. Now, storage-wise, the PS5 Slim has much more storage compared to the regular PS5. It's not a whole lot of storage, but 1 terabyte from the original, 825 gigabytes? I think that's a decent increase in my opinion. The difference is like 1 whole game or, maybe 2. And speaking of games, I think this is a bit of an important topic. If you play a variety of games, as well as a lot of PlayStation exclusives, you're fine with the PS5 Slim. Now, these exclusives are most certainly always going to be only playable on a PlayStation, but then again, the PS5 Slim doesn't really get a whole lot of backwards compatibility. You can play games released on the PS4, both digitally and on a disc, but that's about it. Now, the controller on the PS5 is phenomenal. It's a whole different level compared to an Xbox controller. Now, this may just be more of a personal preference, but it's very nice to be immersed in the game's world, and the PS5's controller does exactly that. There's great haptics, great feedback, and the triggers feel awesome, and it's just much more feature-packed compared to an Xbox controller. Now, everything else about the PS5 Slim is just the same as the regular PS5. If, however, you do plan on getting the digital edition and you suddenly decide that, oops, I kind of want a disk drive, then you have the option to just buy the disk drive. It's not exactly cheap, costing about $80 or something, but I personally like having a disk drive. Now the PS5 Slim gets 2 USB-C ports, 2 USB-A and an Ethernet port, of course, and obviously an HDMI 2.1 port. The PS5 Slim also really doesn't get all that hot. The cooling and hardware were all made compact enough, but it is reasonably designed, so you really just get the same performance for it, and that's honestly all there is to it. It's really just a fancier and smaller PS5, and it's, the replacement of the old fat PS5. If you do, however, want a PS5 that performs just a tad better, there's the PS5 Pro, but that costs like a whole $200 more, which is not exactly the best option in my opinion, but it's your money to spend. You can check out the product out with the link down below, or you can scan this QR code, but right now, it looks to be unavailable. But you can check for yourself, of course. The PS5 Slim costs about $500 on average, but you can find it being sold by other retailers if you look through the other buying options, but of course, that'd cost you slightly more. Anyway, I'm Tom, thanks for watching.